did not happen this year, and I hate it.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Oh, I love to hear that. Okay, so welcome to the Wednesday, January 14th, 2026, regular meeting of the Board of Public Education for Savannah-Chatham County. Thank you all for being here. I love to see a packed room. This is great. Are you guys going to stay for the whole thing? Come on, come on, come on, come on. So if we would all please stand for the national anthem. Yes?
We got to see the meeting.
What?
Roger didn't go. You got to approve the agenda.
Oh, I did. I just did. While you guys were out, I said, I hit the gavel and welcome everyone to the meeting.
We walk it down, right?
Gould Elementary is here.
Okay.
Okay.
They're on the way. You guys want to warm up back?
Good afternoon, everybody. It is my great pleasure to introduce to you the Gould Elementary 4th and 5th grade choir from Gould Elementary School. They are led by Mr. Danny Jones. They're a very capable and wonderful and musical director who has been in the district for 11 years. When you see an elementary chorus, please know that these children come an hour before school every Monday and Wednesday, and their director volunteers his time every Monday and Wednesday, an hour before school starts, and they work on these things. So this is completely outside of school, and it's voluntary, and I don't know about you, but there's not much more joyful than a group of 4th and 5th grade elementary students singing for you. So we are very honored. After they sing, would you please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance
Yeah.
had an email from Savannah. Great job. Great job. You got it.
Let's hear it for Gould Elementary. That totally made my whole day.
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I know. Oh, gosh. I will have a motion to approve the agenda.
I would like to approve the agenda with these corrections. That the board approve the motion to amend the agenda to item 9.10 East Bloss, Georgetown K-8 GMP, as for a change order with J.E. Dunn Construction.
Okay. Moved and seconded, all in favor? Okay, thank you. All right, we have a few announcements. As soon as I find them. Here we go. All right, of course, Monday is Martin Luther King Jr. Day holiday, and the board will be in the parade. Next, but schools will be closed. On January 20th, we have our Capital Improvement Committee meeting at 2 o'clock here in Whitney. January 21st, we have Academic Excellence Committee at 2 p.m. here at Whitney. Our Board Accountability Committee meeting is here on January 27th at 3:30. January 29th, we have our Audit Committee meeting here at Whitney at 8 a.m. February 4th, a lot of us will be in Atlanta for Savannah-Chatham Day. And our February 18th, we have an informal board meeting, executive board meeting, and regular meeting starting at 10:30. Okay, our remembrances today. Jasmine Ransom, she was a SPAD parapro at Windsor Forest Elementary. If we could all please stand for a moment of silence. And now I'm going to turn this over to our superintendent, Dr. Watts.
Good afternoon and Happy New Year. It is exciting to see everyone here today, and I am very excited to announce our December Student of the Month. The Superintendent Student of the Month for December is a 5th grader at Marsh Point Elementary School. This particular student achieved a perfect score on the English Language Arts section of the Georgia Milestone Assessment as a 4th grader and continues her stellar student status in this school year. Our honoree is the morning anchor on MN4K, which is the news show at Marsh Point Elementary School, and she is also a Marsh Point Student Ambassador. She was selected for the Georgia Music Educators Honor Choir and is an active member of the Sing community and is currently in her 5th year of private piano study. She also enjoys exploring the performing arts through drama classes at the Otis C. Johnson Cultural Arts Center. She was the grand prize winner in the Fair Bear Creative Writing Competition and an annual writing contest for young writers. Our Student of the Month is a passionate reader. She has checked out an impressive, listen to this, 1,175 books from the Live Oak Public Libraries since March 13th, 2023. Current reader, future leader. This young scholar exemplifies what it means to be a model student, says Amy Peters, who recommended and nominated her. She consistently puts forth her best effort in all areas of her academic work. When faced with challenges or unfamiliar concepts, she demonstrates persistence and a strong work ethic, seeking understanding and striving for improvement. She is not only committed to her own success, but she also shows a genuine eagerness to support her peers. She collaborates effectively with classmates, offering help and encouragement to ensure collective success. Her dedication, resilience, and leadership make her a standout in the classroom. When asked about her academic success, our Student of the Month said, "It feels nice to know that when someone else didn't do, it feels nice to know that someone else didn't do the work for me. I tried hard and I got it, and I feel very proud about what I did." Please help me congratulate Dorothy Dean, the Superintendent Student of the Month for December. And we'll ask her to please come up to the horseshoe to be formally recognized and celebrated. Dorothy will be taking home several gifts from our sponsors, including Members First Credit Union, Advertising Specialties, Savannah Technical College, Georgia Southern University, Gulfstream, and Savannah Schools Federal Credit Union. In addition, Dorothy and her English Language Arts class will receive copies of her favorite book, Anne of Green Gables by Lucy Montgomery, donated by our sponsor, E. Shaver Bookseller. Again, congratulations to Dorothy, and at this time, I'd also like to have her family stand to be formally recognized and celebrated. And her nominator, Miss Amy Peters, and principal, if they are present in the audience today. Thank you, and keep up the good work, Dorothy. I'd like to continue with our calls for applause. The City of Savannah has a new customer service initiative that everyone should know about. A specialized truck that fills potholes at the expected rate of 2,000 potholes a year. This truck works, a truck that works that hard deserves a name, and the city held a contest to choose the name of the truck. Suggestions were solicited from students who attend our school district within the city limits, and city employees chose the winner. Well, guess what? Congratulations to Hubert sixth grader Naima Williams for suggesting the winning name of, drum roll please, Uncle Phil. Naima was surprised at school, along with her parents, Savannah Mayor Van Johnson, City Manager Jay Milder, and the Board of Education President Roger Moss. The class was treated to a demonstration of the truck filling a pothole right in front of their very own school. Well done, Naima. I'd like to also extend a huge thank you to the National Gypsum Corporation for their donation of $27,500 to Groves High School. As a part of the company's Giving Tuesday philanthropic commitment, National Gypsum has made a $1 million commitment to schools across the nation and in Canada to advance STEAM education. Groves High School was selected by the employees at the local plant here in Savannah. Many thanks to the National Gypsum for their support of our scholars. Also excited to announce that the Georgia Historical Society named the Massey Heritage Center as its 2025 Affiliate Chapter of the Year. Nearly 200 organizations were considered for this award, which celebrates Massey's outstanding partnership and dedication to teaching Georgia and American history through field trips, the Georgia Day Expo, and its valuable archives. This award highlights Massey's crucial role in public history, supporting the Georgia Historical Society's mission by bringing local history to students, educators, and the public in a meaningful way. Thank you to Mr. Steve Smith, who I believe is here with us today. If he'd please stand.
Yes.
Who serves as the curator at Massey Heritage Center, and his award-winning staff for all that they do to support the mission of lifelong learning for our students and our community. Awesome. Thank you so much and congratulations. I'd like to extend a big thanks to the Hyundai Motor Group and Genesis Motor America for hosting a STEAM workshop at Hubert Middle School last month. The workshop introduced students to new ideas in mobility while intertwining knowledge of the automotive industry and utilizing clean energy for transportation. Students explored how to build a futuristic mobility vehicle using upcycled or creatively repurposed materials. We appreciate the support of our business partners in developing and providing world-class hands-on experiences for our scholars. A hats off to our finance team for selection for their Distinguished Budget Presentation Award from the Government Finance Officers Association. This award represents a significant achievement by our district and the finance group and reflects the commitment of the staff to meeting the highest principles of governmental budgeting. To be selected for this award, the agency is rated on how well the budget serves as a policy document, a financial plan, and an operations guide and a communications device. I have, as you can see, a sea of pink out in front of me today. I love it. And that is because we need to extend congratulations to the Savannah Arts Academy girls cross-country team for their second straight championship. You may have already seen their story prominently displayed on our district's website on the news, but we wanted to further emphasize and extend our accolades here today at our board meeting, because it is the Panthers' third state title in the last 4 years. Congratulations to our student athletes. And a special heartfelt thanks to their coaches who put in many, many hours beyond the regular day to help prepare our athletes. And before I ask that team to come up to the horseshoe to have, for us to shake your hands, I'd like to give board member Denise Grabowski an opportunity to make a couple of comments.
Thank you, Dr. Watts. So some of you may have seen in the newspaper yesterday that the Savannah area Greater All-Star team was announced, and we have 3 Lady Panthers who were announced on that team: Francie Tedder, McKay Bennett, and Ava Treese. And I think the rest of the girls' team were all mentioned in honorable mention. And also, they, the newspaper very deservedly recognized the efforts of Coach Steve Riccardi in naming him the Girls Cross Country Coach of the Year. So kudos to all of them.
So I would love to invite the Savannah Arts Academy Girls Cross Country team up and further extend our congratulations to them and their coach.
Congratulations. Great job. Good to see you. Terrific work.
Happy birthday. Congratulations. Terrific job. Very, very proud.
Thanks for coming, right? You know I'm gonna make you come up here. Well deserved.
Great job. Congratulations.
Thank y'all.
So appreciate you. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for all you do.
Thanks, guys.
I know, right?
I don't know if we're bringing the pink hands up to, we are? Okay, we're going to then. All right, and as we allow for the photo to be taken, we have one more acknowledgement at Savannah Arts Academy. I am excited that the state champion students from the Class 2 AA State Georgia High School Association one-act play competition. We have representatives from that competition here today and the celebration of this accomplishment. The Georgia High School Association Class AA one-act play competition is a regional and state level event where high schools perform a fully staged play within a 55-minute time limit. You may recall in last month's Good News, we announced that students Tyler Shaw was named Best Actor, Aisha Clark and Edward Austin Bradford were named to the All-Star cast, and we would now like to welcome the talented state champion one-act play competition students, the entire cast, to come forward to shake the hands of our board.
Oh, thank you. I saw it. It was so good.
Congratulations.
Good job.
Okay. So before they leave, I need to make an announcement. These kids are also doing a production of Grease beginning January 29th at Savannah Arts Academy. They have a special star making a cameo as the teen angel, and that would be me. So don't, shameless plug, January 29th, 30th, 31st, and 1st.
There's a lot to be proud of in the Savannah-Chatham County Public School District. We do not have a professional Senate report because we did not meet in the month of December. So we can proceed with the rest of our agenda.
Okay, I will call on our Vice President, Mr. Paul Smith, for the election of officers.
As my term as vice president of the school board system comes to
Here
an
we
end,
go. Here we go.
I would like to sincerely take a moment to thank my colleagues and district leaders and educators for an amazing year. It was great to serve alongside of each and every one of you. As we look ahead to 2026, I would like to submit the following nominations for board leadership. Mr. Sean Cashmar as the Vice President and Ms. Connie Hall for Pro Tem. Both have demonstrated strong leadership, commitment, and clear dedication to the success of this board and the school system. They will do an amazing job.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Discussion? No discussion. Okay. All right. Next, we have our committee appointments. Academic Excellence Committee, Ms. Denise Grabowski will continue as chair. Members, Dr. Brinkman, Ms. Campbell, Ms. Hall, and Paul Smith. Board Accountability Committee, Dr. Deion Hoskins-Brown will continue as chair. Stephanie Campbell, Ms. Hall, Mr. Smith, and our public citizen member will be Ms. Jamal Barrow. Our Audit Committee, Mr. George Woods will continue. Dr. Deion Hoskins-Brown, McLean Caldwell, Stephanie Campbell, Mario Hilliard, and our new citizen member, Ms. Lydia Syed, Gertrude Robinson, and Bryce Everett. Capital Improvement Committee, Sean Katchmar will continue as chair. Dr. Brinkman, Dr. Howard Hall, Ms. Grabowski, and Ms. Connie Hall. The Finance Committee, Dr. Brinkman, Ms. Campbell, Ms. Grabowski, Mr. Katchmar, and Dr. Howard Hall. And our 2026 delegate and liaison appointments, Ms. Grabowski will continue, and I will be the alternate. Right.
Moving on your agenda, Mr. Board President, board officers, members of the board, we do have item 6.03, which is the facility naming. This is a recommendation that is coming before the board after a constituent had suggested a name, and I want to clarify that this is for a portion of the facility of Groves High School, the JROTC wing. We do stipulate that by board policy, before adopting a name for a facility or a portion of the facility, the name shall be presented to the board at one meeting and then voted on the board at the next meeting. So we have a first reader here today. The committee has held their 2 required meetings and have unanimously agreed on the name. Ex officio of the committee, Dr. Howard Hall, will now read you the recommendation and the rationale.
Thank you. I first like to share some information about Sergeant Tyrone L. Chisholm that was submitted by Major Henry Gibbs III, United States Air Force. Groves alumnus Sergeant Tyrone L. Chisholm, class of 1987, affectionately known by his family and friends as Peanut Butter, was a scholar student athlete all 4 years of high school. He competed in multiple sports, but he was a decorated basketball standout. Sergeant Chisholm was also selected to carry the Olympic torch during the opening ceremony of the 1996 Olympics in Georgia. However, tragically, Sergeant Tyrone Chisholm paid the ultimate sacrifice for our country on November 11th, 2005. He was KIA, killed in action, in Iraq while saving the lives of his fellow soldiers. Growing up in West Savannah, and these are the words of Major Gibbs, who is also from the West Savannah neighborhood, Growing up in West Savannah, we were told as young African-American men that you would either end up in prison, sell drugs, or be hooked on drugs before your 30th birthday. Tyrone did not make it on his 30th birthday, nor did he become a negative statistic. So following a comprehensive review and discussion, the committee determined that a suitable and impactful tribute would be to formally name the Junior ROTC Wing in Sergeant Tyrone Chisholm's esteemed honor.
That is your first reader on facility naming. We will bring a recommendation to the board officially during the February 18th Board of Education meeting. Moving along on your agenda, item 6.04. This is an action item for the Board of Education. This is the second reader on Board Policy GBA, Professional Personnel Compensation Guides and Contracts. Various revisions were brought to the board at the December 17th, 2025 meeting. And we had made some recommendations for changes to address components, for example, adding additives, addressing components of the areas of the policy regarding interim or acting assignments. And a lot of feedback was received by the board during that particular read. We have made a couple of adjustments to the policy that came back for the Board of Education. Received a few queries on this one, so you have it in your Board of Education matters. Once again, this is an action item for the board, subject to your discussion. Thus be it resolved that the board does now approve Board Policy GBA, Professional Personnel Compensation Guides and Contracts.
All accept a motion? Moved. Second? Okay, now discussion. Anyone?
Thank you. I asked that this item be pulled from the consent agenda because there are 3 areas that I had a concern with. 2 of them were places where the narrative was just inconsistent around pay, and one of them was a change that I do not agree with, so I'll point out the inconsistencies first. At the bottom of page 1, interim or acting assignments, it says that employees temporarily assigned to serve in an interim or acting capacity for a position on the administrative or principal salary schedule may be eligible for additional compensation upon working 20 consecutive days in the position. And then on page 2, under acting assignments, it says under number 3, rate of pay, the employee will be compensated according to the established salary schedule for the acting position. And so I do not feel comfortable having someone have to interview for 20 days before receiving the compensation for the work that they have agreed to do in that acting role. And those 2, one seemed to say they're going to get it immediately, and the one seems to say that they're waiting. So can we get clarification on the 20-day wait?
Yes. So the 20 days is 20 days passes, but it's retroactive back. So I see where those 2 languages can be confusing, but it's not until you work 20 days that we go back and retroactively pay you forward. Is kind of what that is.
Why do we retroactively pay someone rather than just having them get paid for it?
One is payroll, one is processing, making sure that person is going through the process. It's just a timing issue. Just gives us a time frame to look 20 days to make an action, as opposed to day 1, day 2, day 3. It's just something to help us have a date to look at, so that we know we can look at this date and we can retroactively do something.
Okay, so procedurally, individuals will see compensation no later than 20 days after assuming the position.
Correct.
Procedurally, employees who take an interim or acting position will see full pay for that position from the day of their start,
Right.
no later than 20 days afterwards.
Which typically in a payroll cycle is a month. So we have 2 payrolls. So that's what that's kind of lining up. So we make sure we have it by the time that month passes. They will get it on that next check.
Okay, so this language says you may be eligible for additional compensation upon working 20 days, but they actually.
They will. I mean, if they're doing it, they will. As may as if they're actually doing it. Maybe if they're
Yeah.
doing it, yes.
Okay, but you see my
I
concern
see.
with it.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Can we tighten it up?
Yeah, we can tighten up.
So that people know that they're going to get paid if
Exactly.
they're doing the work?
I get
Okay.
it. I see what you're saying.
Thank you. The area that I have, that I don't agree with is that we've added a change under 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Under fourth paragraph, under salary schedules, it says, "The superintendent shall review and recommend to the board any," and it did say major changes, and now it says district-wide changes in salary schedules, salary administration procedures, or job classifications, including the establishment of new classifications, elimination, or reclassification of existing positions. Routine or minor adjustments may be managed by the Office of Talent and Human Resources. I'm perfectly comfortable with routine and minor adjustments being managed by the Office of Talent and Human Resources, but there's a very big space between routine and district-wide. There's like division and unit and directorate, and unit level changes, reclassifications may need to come to the board. Some of the complaints that we get about policy have been classification-based. So I'm a little concerned that the only changes to salary schedules, administration procedures, and classifications, that they're only going to come to us if they're applied across the entire district. I think that we may need to see things that are at smaller units, maybe not, a tiny unit, but I'm concerned about that. Is there some thinking about why it was changed from major to district-wide?
Let me go to why it was put in. It was put in because of the Evergreen conversation. So that was a full, overhaul of everything that we did. So the context was we've made changes throughout. We've had other, from year to year, there's been reorgs by departments. The superintendent has approved reorgs. Those come. So, the board sees them. They may not see the dollar amounts, but they see what's happening. And so those happen. This was really written to say, okay, if we have something that's like another compensation study, that's kind of what's driving the district-wide. But the superintendent still can make changes throughout to units because we're going to do it equitably across. I guess that just goes to what we've been doing, but Evergreen introduced another thought, which is that we do need to have something that kind of tells us there may be something that's district-wide or fully happening. Because normally we don't do anything district-wide. Normally we're doing something in pockets, not district-wide.
Thank you.
But I guess what I want to make sure I'm hearing from you is you're fine with the district-wide, but what you're saying is the board may also need to give input if it is less than district-wide.
That is my concern, because
Okay.
reorganizations of units, like for example, reorganization of the academic team is not district-wide. It's a unit.
But it is still a significant change.
But it's a big change. And so when we've had reorganizations that large, the board has been made aware, hey, there's going to be a reorganization in this area. The way this policy is written, you don't have to tell us about that.
So I guess the guidance I need from the board is to what would you consider a unit? What's significant enough if it's impacting a whole department or a whole set of employees? We just need to know what the bar is for when it needs to come to the board versus when an administrative leadership decision can be made. What's the guidance?
For me, the language should stay major or district-wide.
What's major?
And I trust the superintendent to know what major is when they align it with what the strategic plan is or what our strategic activities have been. So as we're moving in, as we look at our board accountability plan, or as we're looking at the strategic plan that are being developed, if there's a major change that is changing emphasis or alignment with one of those, then to me, that's more than operational. That is a directional change. But you have 8 other people who will tell you what they think
Sure.
major is.
That's what I'm worried about, is that what I may think is major, someone else may not, or you all may think something is major that I don't think is major. So I just need definition.
Mr. Kowalski?
Well, and I'm the one who raised the major point at the board meeting of what does major mean? So and this may still not be enough, but would it be sufficient to say any major change such as or including but not limited to district-wide changes, blah, 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 or is that still too nebulous?
Dr.
I
Brinkman?
personally think that's too nebulous.
Okay.
Like, it's-
Can we give a number of employees impacted?
Impacted, yeah.
That's closer to what I need.
No?
No, because you could impact 20 paraprofessionals, and it wouldn't be the same as moving 3 high-level administrators.
Why don't we make it a cost?
Yeah, I got you.
I'm not asking for a cost. I aligned it with strategic alignment and major operations. Somebody else said cost. For
I
me-
mean major. If we're going to define major, though, maybe we do it based on pay, based on amount. If
I
not,
still think that people's lives are not defined by what their salary is. When we're talking about major changes, we're talking about a major change in direction of a very large ship. So when you're changing a group in a large ship, I want to know how that change is moving the ship in the direction that it needs to go. I'm thinking programmatically, not dollar, not number of people. If the agreement was that the ship is going in this direction because literacy is important, or attendance is important, or financial reconciliation is important, and it necessitates a major reorganization, I would want to know that, to know how are we reorganizing such that we're going in the direction that we want to go. It is a strategic thought process, not one to, it's not the same as what's the dollar amount of the contract that the superintendent gets to sign.
So can I just use a more recent example? We did some significant reorg to operations and capital projects. Is that falling under the criteria that you're naming right now as an opportunity for us to bring, so that would be an example?
Yes,
Yeah.
because there were symptoms that necessitated reorganization that you shared with the board. I am fixing some of the symptoms that are making us not work well. So in order to eliminate some of these symptoms that are not aligned with where we want to go strategically, I am reorganizing this area.
Got it.
That is how I received that information.
Okay.
'Cause they're-
That's helping me. Thank
Okay.
you. I just need to codify it for myself, and I don't know how much of it needs to be in policy, but I don't want to be the person making the decision about what's major and what's not, because then I'm going to miss something, and then I don't want to be, exactly. So I need to figure out what the criteria is and give that back to you and get feedback on it. But it helps me to know that, and a good example is what we just did with operations, because then I can extrapolate the criteria from that. So if you're telling me that's a good example, then I can use that as a starting place.
Is there anyone uncomfortable with that example? No, that's okay. Okay. Mr. Katchmar makes a point. He says that's an obvious example, and the gray area that you may fear are the less obvious examples. So because this is the policy, yeah, we can try and come up with some more language.
If
I
the
don't
board is
know.
comfortable, we could add a blurb in there that says district-wide as defined by an administrative procedural document, and we will share that with the board in draft and get some alignment on what that is. And then that's really what we're operating from an administrative standpoint.
Well, district-wide is intuitive. We know that it's the definition of major
Yes,
that
that's the
administrative
issue.
document would need to define, but I'm very comfortable with that
Yeah.
if the team could
Yes,
come up
ma'am.
with that.
Yep.
Thank you.
So do we want to delay this until
Motion to table?
that is done?
Motion to
Do you-
table?
It's been motioned and seconded to table this. All in favor? Thank you. Oh. Huh? It's okay, all right.
That concludes your Board of Education matters. Now on to the consent agenda and other matters of today's agenda.
I will accept a motion to accept our consent agenda.
I would
Move it
like
second.
to make a motion that we amend the consent agenda to add item 7.25-M25405- registered behavior technician services, amendment 2. Like for us to review the, thank you.
Okay, hang on.
Mr. President, it's been properly moved and seconded.
We didn't amend it. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on that? No? All right. All in favor? Good. Okay. All right. All right. So, okay. All right. Okay. So what are we doing with this? Okay, no, okay, so all in favor of accepting the consent agenda with that exception? With that amendment? All in favor?
We need a motion, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So move.
Okay. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So we're gonna talk about this. Okay. Oh, okay. Financials.
Good afternoon. Item 8.01, RFP 25-01, Educational Interpreter Services for the Deaf, Annual Contract, First Renewal. On January 15th, 2025, the board approved the award of RFP 25-01 to the 6 vendors listed on your agenda item. On December 17th, 2025, the board approved the amendment of RFP 25-01, Educational Interpreter Services for the Deaf, to amend the contract with the Stepping Stones Group, LLC, secondary award for 4 additional educational interpreters in response to support needed for students that have been identified as deaf or hard of hearing. The contract was with qualified vendors will continue to provide support to students that have been identified as deaf or hard of hearing who require specialized communication assistance to assess the instruction and fully participate in the educational environment and to maintain compliance with the IDEA and Section 504 while ensuring equitable access. Staff recommends board approval to exercise the first renewal option with all terms and conditions remaining the same. The annual estimated expenditure for the first renewal period, February 3rd, 2026 through February 2nd, 2027, is $623,680. The funding source for this contract would be our general fund. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the final renewal of contracts under RFP 25-01, Educational Interpreter Services for the Deaf Annual Contract with vendors listed at a total estimated annual cost of $628,680.
Accept a motion to approve? It's been moved by Dr. Howard Hall. Seconded by Ms. Grabowski. Any discussion? There being no discussion, all in favor? Okay. Thank you.
Item 8-02, budget amendment, Godot Student Mental Behavioral Health Services Grant. The Georgia Department of Education has allocated $20,000 per identified middle and high school in the school system to provide direct mental and behavioral health support to students in grades 6 through 12. While Godot allocated funds based on the school's designation as a middle or high school, the district has the option to distribute funds to schools and programs serving students in grades 6 through 12 as it determines. As such, the district will ensure all schools with students in grades 6 through 12 have access to mental health services. Flexibility is provided in determining the best way to maximize the funding. The district seeks to increase the number of middle schools and high schools with the access to the on-site teletherapy access. Number 2, increase the number of students receiving Tier 2 and Tier 3 site-based support by licensed mental health professionals. And number 3, increase the number of students receiving behavioral support services through evidence-based wellness and violence prevention programming. The total received for this program was $460,000. The funds will be budgeted as expenditures under contract services under counselors. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the receipt of Godot Student Mental Behavioral Health Services Grant and the associated budget amendment in the amount of $460,000.
Been moved by Ms. Hall, seconded by Dr. Hoskins Brown. Any discussion? All right, let's just go down the road. Ms. Grabowski, Dr. Hoskins Brown, Ms. Hall, and Ms. Campbell.
Didn't expect that, did you? So this is great that we are receiving this support from Godot, and I appreciate that there's information included about how the district plans to utilize the funding, as we would certainly love to get regular updates about this, but I'm curious on the heels of our discussion this morning with ROI. So this is a grant that's coming to us. Are we still, when we receive a grant like this, are we still putting the processes in place to evaluate the ways in which we are utilizing the dollars for an ROI? Even though it's not out of our general fund, because we have flexibility in the way in which we can use it, are we still evaluating it through that ROI lens? Or how do we evaluate the way in which we're using these state funds and their effectiveness? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. So a lot of these grants do come with metrics already tied to them and a reporting structure. I'll need to look at this one specifically, that we have to provide a report back to the agency to say this is the return on investment. So I would not say we're evaluating those things necessarily with the same rigor we are, but I think it naturally is inherent within a lot of the grants that we do receive that you report back some measure of impact.
That is correct, Madam Superintendent, and we certainly will have to report back to the state as we would with most of our grants. In this particular case, we have established some metrics, and we'll share that with the board as part of a larger plan for how these funds will be utilized. You heard that these funds will be used to expand services to more on-site services to our middle and high schools, considering that we received, as you recall, a couple years ago from the Department of Behavioral Health, a grant for our Hazel Health Services. So this is an opportunity for us to expand those services. Those are data points that we do have in terms of the number of services that are provided. So we'll continue to utilize that as one metric, and then we'll share some of the additional updates as well on how those funds will be utilized.
Ms. Brown?
Thank you. I appreciate the leadership pulling this from the consent agenda. I pulled this because I wanted to highlight us doing some really good decision-making very pro-student decision-making. So this action, as I read it, is that, as was read, that the district will ensure that all students in grades 6 through 12 have access to mental health services. Because when this was sent, it identified middle and high school, and I'm assuming not K-8, and that's why we are shaping in this way. They're not anticipating that we had K-8. So I really wanted to point out the fact that we were doing something that was pro-child with this resource, and that we were making really, really good decisions in support of wellness for our children. And so I didn't want that buried in consent. I wanted everybody to see it. This is what we're doing, and I'm very happy for it.
Ms. Hall?
The fact that it say that all children will have access, of course, means that there's going to be a lot of operational methodology to do this. Who gets to have access? Who delivers? You know, will this be under our counselors? Will it be under academics? Or just how do I get this service that I need? And is my condition worse than Sean's? Or how does that all get? So if we could hear more about that in the future, that would be good.
Absolutely, and we'll make sure that the full plan is included in the upcoming superintendent's report for the board. But please note that our schools currently, with our Hazel Health partnership, they are able to make those referrals for students and families. Our families also may make those referrals, as Hazel Health is available to all schools and all students and families virtually, but we have designated in the original grant 20 schools. Again, this gives us an opportunity to expand those services and access for all of our students, or for those additional middle and high schools for those in-person and on-site services.
Ms. Campbell?
That was sort of my question, what Ms. Grabowski said about outcomes, because is this a renewable grant, or is this one time?
So at the moment, this is a one-time grant. We have not received any indication that this is a grant that will be renewed.
Okay, and I like the outcomes-based metrics, and I'm glad we're doing that, hopefully a little bit above and beyond, just so we know if we want to keep it going once the grant funding dries up, if it does. But my question was more in line with what you just said. With our last audit, we talked about our health services that we provide, and that telehealth is already available to everyone. I think this is great. I got no problems with this at all. I'm just trying to understand now, how are we increasing the reach if we already offered it? I know people didn't know about it and maybe weren't using it as much as we would like, but how is this grant helping us with that? Does that make sense? Okay.
So again, what I'll say about this particular grant, what it does is it gives us an opportunity to provide access for in-person, in-home services. So that is the piece that will be different from what is currently available in terms of access for all of our schools and all of our families, those telehealth services. So this gives us an opportunity to expand on those in-person, on-site, in-home services.
Okay, that makes more sense. When I see telehealth, I think you're on the computer, you're doing what we already have the capability of doing. So that is helpful, and that's great. So nice work.
Anyone else? Okay. Yes, it was moved and seconded, and there being no more question. All in favor? All right. Continue.
Item 9.01, our financials. The financials that were included in your packet this month covers us through November 30th, 2025, and that's 30% of our school year. Our general fund revenues, local property taxes, we are at 55% of the budget. And this is exactly where we were around this same time last year. Overall, our general fund revenues, we're at 48% of the budget through the first 5 months. Our general fund expenditures, our actual teacher expenditures, we're at 33% of the budget and 28% for the paraprofessionals, and that's within the range that we would expect at this time of the year, at 30%. Total general fund actual expenditures, 38% of the budget, and which is a little bit higher than this same time last year. And I think that's because of the efforts that we've been putting, we put in place, as was said earlier in this morning's finance discussion, with us looking at the budgets and getting with the departments and the schools and just letting them know the monies are available. We're at 38% this year compared to 31% the same time last year. In our capital projects funds 307 and 308, that's where we have a lot of our facility repairs and small capital projects that are not included in our ESPLOS. We have currently $16 million in encumbrances, and that just tells us that we've got contracts out there with vendors to do work throughout the district. And as of November 30th, there were $16 million worth of work out there being done on our facilities. Our ESPLOS spendings, we're at $103 million out there in purchase orders and contracts that are actually committed through November 30th. Fund 600, that's our school nutrition program. School nutrition, we have year-to-date, we are showing a loss of $1.4 million. We, at this point, have not transferred any of our operating funds that from the general fund to cover the costs with school nutrition. We have a budget of $3.1 million out there for the year that can be transferred at any given time. That's an overview of some of our funds through November. Stop at this point to see if we have any questions.
Dr. Hoskins-Brown.
Thank you. I looked at account numbers 308 and 312, and for building, is that building acquisition and improvements, item 44, we're way over the amount that we budgeted for those. Let me see. So we have, for example, in 308, we have $4.5 million spent. We have almost $9 million in encumbrances, but that wasn't our revised budget. We had actually trimmed that budget down significantly. And the same is true in the same category for EastPlus 3. We are at $12.9 million more than we budgeted. So can you just tell me why those lines are looking that way, that we have encumbered or spent so much more than we planned in the budget for those two lines?
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to take you to page 30. Is that 39? To page 40. That's your 307 funds. The 307 fund, it's a cumulative account or fund where we're looking at from year to year. What you were looking at on the other page was just our activity for this year. But if you look at this page, we have totals that have been transferred from our general fund and maybe some other funds into Fund 307 of $20 million since this fund was set up maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I'm not sure exactly.
Bless you. You mean 07 or 08? Because I was looking at 08 and 12.
You're looking at 308, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Okay.
So
but the same thing applies?
Same thing applies. Okay, I flipped to 308.
Okay.
So here in Fund 308, we have a budget total from inception of our 308 funds, $118 million was what was budgeted, and we have an actual of $117 million that's been transferred there to be used on capital projects. It started out just being small capital projects, but it ended up being any type of capital projects that has been approved by the board and the superintendent that is not in using East Block, that hasn't been approved through the referendums for those East Block projects. So over the years, we've had $117 million of actual revenue in those accounts, and you have there the different funding sources. You see, we got almost $8 million from selling some land and buildings and some rental properties and all of the different revenue sources there. The expenditures there are all that has been done. So when you look at the other page that you were looking at and you saw it looked like a negative for the year, look at this page. This tells you that the monies are there. But you just couldn't see it on that other page. Yes, ma'am.
So I appreciate that. I wasn't worried about the negative, because I know the negative just means, did we plan for that or not? Is it different from what we planned? Is it more than what we planned? My question about this is more the planning process. Why do we have two categories that the spending was not, like we spent so much, but it wasn't planned? It wasn't, because if it was planned, so the revised budget, the column 3 on any of the fund numbers, that's what we approve in our July budget, right?
Correct.
Okay, so if it's really, really different than what we budgeted, that means we're spending something that was not part of our budget plan. So that's what I'm wondering. Why are we so off from our plan? Like, what was unplanned that we didn't know that we were going to spend $13 million different in these two areas?
I would defer to Ms. Davidson, but I would expect the answer to probably be unexpected things like HVAC systems that don't operate. You know, they're emergency type things.
That's correct. And I just want to clarify, and Ms. Roslyn can help if I'm saying this correctly. I think the way it's confusing in that it says a budget, but that's not necessarily what was planned. The expenses may come in this fiscal year, but the original budget was in last fiscal year. So you won't see the budget in this year. Right, so it shows a negative on that other page, and it gives the appearance that the expenses are greater than what we had anticipated, but that's not the case. It's just because the expenses are coming in on a different fiscal year.
So, but we know, if we could go to slide 4, if we can go to page 4, why are we not budgeting for expenses in the same year? Why are they falling in a different year? Like, we know for Title 7. This is the question I normally ask Ms. Rosalind. Why are we not reflecting these numbers? And she says, look, it's reimbursable. We get reimbursed at, the next year. But this is building improvement and acquisition. Why is it not happening in the same fiscal year? Because it's not negligible. It's not $1 million. Like an HVAC is like $1 million.
If you think
Both of these are $13 million each.
I'm sorry. Our projects don't all end in one fiscal year.
Okay.
So when you look at the 308 fund, if you were at the CIC meetings or any of those, or we have some detailed reports that gives you a list of every single project that makes up this money in 308.
Okay.
So when you look at that report, you can see when a project starts and when it ended. So they cross over from one year to
I'll give you a good example. Pulaski Modulars were something that we utilize 308 for. Audio enhancement is another project that's been multi-year, multi-phase, and it crosses fiscal years. A lot of the projects could not be completed within one fiscal year.
But multi-year, multi-phase means you planned it, which means it ought to be somewhere close to the budget. So it's either unplanned or it's planned, and I won't beat this much more, but if you're telling me it's multi-year, that means you planned it to be multi-year, which means it ought to be budgeted. If you're telling me it's unanticipated, then it's an unanticipated cost. If you're saying that it's a delayed cost, then that's not multi-year. That just means it's going to fall the following fiscal year. So this is the kind of fiscal uncertainty that I think we're trying to work on, and I'm just trying to fix my mind to the real-time fiscal accountability that we talked about this morning in the Finance Committee. That's all I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to look at that and see that see that's in mind.
I think we can help by pulling in that other report, because this original appropriation budget is only for this fiscal year. But what we have done is we have broken out the plan through multi-years. So that is, I think, causing confusion. So I think we can correct that by providing additional supportive documentation.
Thank you.
Continue. You done? Oh, wonderful.
Unless there are more questions.
Any other questions? All right.
Okay, 9.02, budget amendment, East Plus 4 revenue. Collections of educational special fund purpose local option sales tax for and operating transfers in TAVIC have concluded. However, related interest earnings and state capital outlay proceeds may continue to be received. In addition to federal E-rate reimbursement revenue has exceeded the amount originally budgeted. The Operations Division now requests a budget amendment to East Plus 4 to adjust the revenue budget to reflect the actual recognized amounts for East Plus collections and TAVIC proceeds, and to increase the E-rate revenue budget to account for the reimbursements received in excess of the approved budget. On your agenda item, the total shown for the change is $34,528,689. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education approve the East Plus 4 revenue budget amendment to align the revenue budget with the actual recognized revenues for final East Plus 4 collections and operations collections and increased federal E-rate reimbursement as presented. And be it further resolved that the Board of Education approve the corresponding program budget adjustments and transfers within East Plus 4 to appropriately allocate the increased revenues to approve capital projects, contingencies, and unallocated reserves as detailed.
And can I just offer for clarification, that's the money that we just received that we didn't know we had. So earlier today, when we were talking about the Woodville-Tompkins and that funding, I didn't know that we were getting more funds until very recently. So when I said I didn't have funding to do Woodville-Tompkins, it was because I didn't know I was getting this.
Got it. Okay. It's been moved. Second? Moved and seconded. Now discussion. Anyone else? Yes.
What is the Garden City contingency?
It's for Garden City Elementary School.
Elementary school.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And then the unallocated, a portion of that unallocated would go towards the Pooler Bloomingdale.
We would bring forth another board agenda item for request to transfer funds from the unallocated to Pooler. Today
Okay.
was just a discussion, but we would bring forth another agenda item in the February board
Okay,
agenda.
thank you.
Anyone else? All right, there being no more discussion, all in favor? Wonderful. Okay. Oh, Dr. Hassan-Brown is abstaining. Oh. All right, continue.
I'd like to add to that agenda item that there will be some additional funds in this East Plus 4 as the months continue, simply because we have funds in an account that are earning interest. So as long as the monies are there in the bank, in the account, we will continue to earn interest. That will be additional revenue for East Bluffs 4.
Thank you.
9.03, budget amendment, FY '25 amended school security grant, Fund 100. The Georgia Department of Education has allocated the Savannah-Chatham County Public School System an additional $1,276,465 to continue funding for approved school security personnel positions and other security items related to the school's safety and security. To align the budget to the grant allowed, the budget must be adjusted by the following amount of $1,276,465. The schedule on your item details out the revenue and the expenses intended for the budget. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve FY '26 budgeted revenue and expenditures by $1,276,465 as shown in the above table to align the local budget with the amended school security grant allocation as approved by the Georgia Department of Education.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Ms. Hall.
Just very glad to see it and very much needed.
Anyone else? All right, there being no further discussion, all in favor? Great.
9.04, East Bluffs 4, Gamble Road Maintenance Transportation Design, Goodwin Mills, Calwood, change order number 6. A contract under RFQC 25-04, on-call design professional services was awarded to Goodwin Mills, Caldwell in the amount of $80,500 for master planning services for the site at Gamble Road. Subsequent change orders for design phases 1 through 3 have increased the contract amount to $631,320. The change order amount of $822,000 lump sum fee plus a reimbursable expense of $30,000 for a total amount of $852,000. The total contract amount included all phases of design will be as followed, detailed in the table that is provided in the agenda item. Staff have reviewed the scope of services and design proposals and recommend them for approval, and the superintendent supports the recommendation. Funding for the next 2 phases of the contract will be allocated from East Bluffs 4 unallocated funds, and that would be $852,000 from East Bluffs 4 unallocated to that project under the architectural fees. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the design change order number 6 in the amount of $852,000 to Goodwin Mills Caldwell LLC for design of Phase 4 maintenance facility and Phase 5 storage building, and a total contract amount of $1,403,320 as required for the additions and renovations to Gamble Road maintenance and transportation buildings. And be it further resolved that the board approve the budget transfer from East Bluffs 4 unallocated account to East Bluffs 4 Gamble Road maintenance transportation design account as described.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Okay. There being no discussion, all in favor?
Item number 9.05, bid 26-22, oils, lubricants, and antifreeze annual contract. The purchasing department received 4 bids in response to bid 26-22, oils, lubricants, antifreeze annual contracts. The intent of the solicitation was to establish a contract to supply oils, lubricants, and antifreeze for the Transportation Department as outlined in bid 26-22 and all related documents. The performance period for this bid is for an initial 1-year period with the option to renew for 2 additional 1-year terms. Staff now recommends that this bid be awarded to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, which was determined to be Safety Clean Systems, Inc., at a total estimated cost of $1,147,339. The funding source for this contract would be our general fund. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the contract with Safety Clean Systems Incorporated for bid 26-22, oils, lubricants, antifreeze annual contract at a total estimated cost of $1,147,339.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Ms. Grabowski?
So I assume this is for our bus fleet, correct?
I beg your pardon?
I said I assume this is for the bus fleet?
Yes. Yes.
And our EV buses don't have this need, correct?
To my knowledge, they do not have the need. I would have to confirm with the maintenance.
So I just want to elevate that. Okay, maybe they have antifreeze. That this is over $1 million that we are spending to maintain a conventional fleet. So as we are thinking about the way in which we are spending our dollars and thinking about our transportation fleet, just don't want us to forget about operations and maintenance of diesel buses over EV buses. So.
All right. Dr. Howard Hall, does he have something? All right, Dr. Brinkman.
I was going to follow up Ms. Grabowski's green initiative, but I kind of wanted, you don't need to answer this now, but I would love to know how many oil changes we do a year, because I was just trying to think like how often and how many would be. It would be awesome to know that number. But then do we actually, this is Denise's comment here that she gets for free from me. What do we do with our used oil, and do we have some way that it might be being recycled? So thanks. Doesn't need to know now.
Anyone else? All right, all in favor?
We'll vote in favor of it. We're realists.
All right.
Item number 9.06, bid 24-03, custodial products and supplies annual contract, second and final renewal. On January 10th, 2024, the board approved the award of bid 24-03, custodial products and supplies annual contract for an initial 1-year period with 2 additional annual renewals remaining. And on February 5th, 2025, the board approved the first renewal with 1 additional year term remaining with the 8 vendors listed. Staff recommends exercising the second and final renewal option to provide the purchase and delivery of custodial products and supplies throughout the district for an additional 1-year term with the vendors that were listed. The estimated cost of the second and final renewal is $1 million, and the funding source is from the general fund. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the second and final contract renewal of bid 24-09, custodial products and supplies annual contract to the 8 firms listed at the annual estimated cost of $1 million.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. course. Ms. Grabowski.
I'm sorry. I wasn't even going to bring up the comment the last one, but this one I was, because, so I just have a question for Ms. Davidson. Do we order the supplies for the custodians, or are custodians able to order their own supplies through this contract?
No, we order the supplies for the custodians, and then supplies are dispersed out
Okay.
to the school sites.
When we are selecting the cleaning products that we are using, are we evaluating the volatile compounds that are in them? Because I know that many people have reactions, me being one of them, to the really, really strong smells that some of the, and when I go into some of our schools, there's a really, and some people associate that with the smell of clean, but it's really very unhealthy. So I hope that that's something that we are evaluating as we're selecting the chemicals that are being used to clean our schools. So I'm happy to have a sidebar with you, but
Yeah, I honestly can't tell you, but I'm happy to look into that. One thing that we do not order is, for example, Clorox wipes. They have a very strong odor, but they are often on a supply request list
Right.
from a teacher. So there are some products that are in a school that may not be purchased through operations, but I'm happy to go in and look and make sure what our review was that we conducted, especially for smells and.
well, and I appreciate you bringing up the Clorox wipes, because as a parent, I see that, on the list, and I've often wondered why that's the case. And that might be a matter of educating our school staff, why we don't order Clorox wipes, and more importantly, what healthy alternatives exist instead, because I think that's something that impacts an awful lot of children. It can be triggers for asthma and all sorts of other respiratory issues. So anyways, just appreciate you looking into that. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, all in favor?
Fabuloso, yeah. Mr. Clean.
Item number 9-07, bid 25-14, small construction services for projects under $100,000, annual contract, first renewal. On December 18th, 2024, the board approved bid 25-14, small construction services for projects under $100,000, painting, framing, drywall, fire doors, flooring, electrical, ceiling grids, roof repair, masonry, bathroom, cabinetry, and fencing. The performance period included an initial one-year period with the option to renew for 2 additional one-year terms. There were 5 vendors that were approved under this bid. Staff recommends exercising the first renewal option to provide as-needed small construction services throughout the district. The performance period is for a one-year period with the option to renew for 1 additional one-year term. The estimated cost for the first renewal period is $5 million. The funding source on this will be Fund 308 and our ESPLOS funds. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approves the first renewal of bid 25-14, small construction services for projects under $100,000 with the 5 vendors that were listed at an estimated cost of $5 million.
Moved. And seconded. Discussion. All in favor? All right.
Item number 9.08, furniture, fixtures, and equipment for Myers Middle School, Fund 307. On April 9th, 2025, the board approved an extension of the annual contracts for district-wide furniture, fixture, and equipment, bid C-19-05, Masons, Inc., and RFP C-23-01, Georgia Specialty Equipment, LLC. Staff now recommends approval to purchase furniture for Myers Middle School utilizing district contracts and statewide contracts with HNI Workplace, Kruger International, and OFC Brands. The estimated cost of the furniture is $932,997.80. The funding source is multiple projects in the 307 fund. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the purchase of furniture, fixtures, and equipment for Myers Middle School using bid C 19-05 and RFP 20C 23-01, district-wide FF&E contracts Masons and General Georgia Specialty Equipment, and statewide contracts using HNI Workplace, Kruger International, and OFC Brands will be used for the purchase of Myers Middle School's FF&E. The estimated cost of the furniture is $932,997.80.
It's been moved. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right. All in favor?
Item number 9.09, RFQ C25-04, Design Services for New Windsor Forest Elementary School Replacement. This is East Blos 5. On December 17, 2025, the board approved the first renewal of RFQ C25-04, On-Call Professional Services Annual Contract. The board awarded this bid to all of the vendors listed as outlined. At this time, staff is requesting approval for Croft and Associates, Inc. to proceed with design services for the new Windsor Forest Elementary School replacement project. The services will include demolition documents, redevelopment of the site to address the floodplain issues, design documents for the replacement school, and assistance with Georgia Department of Education site approval. The initial stated cost limitations for the project is $36 million. In accordance with the board policy regulation FGC-R, bids and quotation, the design professional fee for this SCL is $2,242,250. In the future, if the state cost limitation changes as a result of the scope change to the project, policy will allow for a corresponding fee adjustment. In addition to the lump sum fee of $2,242,250, a $20,000 reimbursable expense cost to be paid out for the actual costs incurred will be added for a total contract amount of $2,262,250. Staff have reviewed the proposal and now request board action to approve. The funding source on this is E5 funds. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the contract with Croft and Associates for design services for the new Windsor Forest Elementary School replacement project for a total design professional fee of $2,242,250 with a $20,000 reimbursable expense cost for the total contract amount of $2,262,250.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Dr. Howard Hall. Oh, no. Do this. Okay. Ms. Kachmar.
This came up last meeting. I just wanted to clarify that we're doing the first few E5 projects with our on-call services that were approved a few years ago, but the goal and intent is to put out for bid the majority of future E5 projects. And this is just one of the early ones, but the majority of the E5 projects moving forward will put out for bid, correct?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else?
I missed that meeting, but I'm still, and I would have asked this then, still slightly confused. I'm happy to get things moving, but I'm slightly confused that we're moving things forward when we still haven't even put out an RFP for our project manager, and we haven't had, I would think they'd want to be at the table in some of these processes, but I mean, I'm not a person that does construction, so somebody tell me why I'm thinking incorrectly.
I think we also said it's going to be shared management, some district staff, some program manager, so everything is not being turned over to a program manager.
Davidson, can you provide an update on where we are with the RFP for the project manager?
Yes, so the team finalized the wording maybe yesterday or today. It's been a long day. I couldn't tell you for exact. And so we will be sending that over to procurement and legal for their review. And then we hope for it to be able to go out for posting. It generally takes procurement and legal 2 weeks apiece at most to review them. So, but this is a large contract and it's a very important item. So I would rather not rush it and make sure that we get it right. Then once it goes out, we'll allow for bids to come in. The committee will be a high-level committee, and so we'll ensure there is representation from different parts of the administrative sides, and then selection can move forward. We are working through this architect so that we can honor our E5 commitments to try to move forward.
I'm sorry, Dr. Hoskins-Brown.
Do we need this approved today? Like, is this time sensitive?
It is time sensitive to be able to move forward with the start of that project.
So what's the timeline for this project?
I'm going to defer to my capital programs and maintenance team.
Yeah, what's the next step that necessitates us voting on this today before the RFP?
The RFP would delay this at least 3 months. So that would mean that so Windsor Forest Elementary then would likely be delayed, looking at a timeline, maybe another year by the time you start the design and the pieces.
So what's the first step that needs to happen that necessitates approving this today? What's waiting on this that makes this time sensitive?
I mean, the next step is to kick off the project. If we delay, it's going to delay it potentially for a whole year.
It impacts the project schedule.
I understand, but nobody has said the first thing in your project schedule. I'm asking because I don't know it.
Yeah, this delay,
Repeat.
Drevon Jones, come to the podium.
So the first thing that we would do once the project kicks off is to start with the architect and establish the programming. The programming is the first thing before we can even get into our schematic and design development. So once the architect comes on board, we'll have them meet with all of our staff to include academics to ensure that that we're going to be able to fit everything into the school, all of the academics that's necessary. The project schedule is contingent upon the architect finishing both the programming and the design. Once those are complete, we'll go into construction, but we'll be up against the schedule to ensure that the construction is complete before that following school year. If we delay the architects getting on board, it could also delay the construction being complete, which could push us getting into the school another year.
And the swing side straight.
Right, and that impacts our swing sites. So we have.
Thank you, that makes sense. I know that's the process, and this is my own maybe misunderstanding of what we were doing with the project manager. I don't know, and I might have missed the bus completely, because I thought we were going to have them come up with that timeline, but it's sounding now that we have some projects that we're getting going, because we're making money, and we're going to come up with our own timeline and then hand that off to the project manager? I know we have a timeline, but we definitely had a meeting where we were debating that timeline and having a project manager come in to change that timeline.
It
but-
will take us time, I hope, and I've spoken with Ms. Nathaniel and other leaders at the, in the finance department, that we have no delay on the legal review of the RFP and the procurement side. So that process is moving along, but if we stop everything and wait for that process to play out, our whole E5 schedule
Yeah,
is going to be.
I'm not trying to stop anything. I'm just trying to better understand, and I think I've just missed the bus, and that's
Right.
my own fault, so I will talk to people offline. Thank you.
So we're just trying to go down two simultaneous paths at the same time.
Thank you for that. It moves the needle. I feel like I was under a rock, so my bad.
Ms. Hall?
It seems to me that I remember us discussing that the program management mainly deal with East Bluffs projects costing $15 million and above.
Correct.
And those projects below that would be handled more by our in-house project management team. Now, did I make that up, or did we say that?
No, that's correct, Ms. Hall. That is the plan. So generally, your larger projects like this will be handled by the third party. We are working to continue so we can move forward, because some of our babies, when you walk through the schools, we feel like they deserve for us to move forward. And then it takes time. Once we get the third party, they can't just move very quickly. So to make sure that we integrate them well as a partner, that will likely take 6 months at a very fast pace. It may take a year to get them fully on board. So that's why we're continuing to move forward a few projects.
Well, Ms. Davidson, let me ask this. Is everybody working with this in the mode of let's execute and not spending more time than necessary on, things that drag projects down?
Yes, ma'am. We are moving on the execution. It did take us longer than we had originally anticipated to make sure that we wrote the RFP in the way that was best worded. We're trying to be very clear. We tried to go back, review the feedback from the board members, and just speak to individuals that were part of it last time to make sure that we don't go down a path or make the same mistake twice. So we took a little bit longer intentionally to make sure we're doing it right, and hopefully the first time.
Okay. Mr. Bremen, I know you've probably heard from that community. I've heard a lot, and I'm in District 3, but that we had lots of problems with plumbing and all. Dr. Watts, I think you addressed that at some point. So I know this place is in kind of bad condition, and we need to get whatever we can do to.
It is in terrible condition.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't want to slow anything down. I'm just trying to get myself up. I feel like I am the deficiency, not the district. And I'm happy that in here it talks about floodplain issues, and that's actually part of this art, because that's one of the big problems, and there will probably be a lot of site work that needs to be done so that we ensure that in the future, when it pours, the school doesn't flood, and that we don't negatively impact the residents that are around that school with us needing to abate more water away. So I'm happy that that is a part of the plan. I don't want to slow down the plan. I'm just trying to figure out
understand.
how it's all coming together. So
So, Ms. Davidson, is the plumbing situation better than it was?
It is better, but this is one of our sites that our young people sometimes put things down the commode that should not go. So toilets get stopped up when you put pencils or other things down. Children have learned that when I stop up toilets, sometimes that means that I get to go home. So it is something that while we did what we could with plumbing, it's very old, we also have to work through human behaviors.
And of course, that has to do with supervision.
It does, yes, ma'am. It's hard. It is very challenging, to be honest, because we can't go in the restroom with the young people. But it's just trying to educate and change that behavior.
All right, thank you.
Any more? Yes.
Yeah.
Dr. Hoskins-Brown.
Yeah, I'm with Dr. Brinkman. I'm not trying to delay the project. I just wanted to ask questions because, like him, I was not up to speed. So I'm glad we got to the answers of what where we needed to be. Yeah, I agree. This is a school that needs the work. So I don't have any problem with moving forward on it. I just wanted to get an idea of what your thought process was. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? All right. All in favor?
Item number 9.10, East Blos 4, Georgetown K-8, GMP change order number 1, J.E. Dunn Construction. On August 13th, 2025, the board approved GMP for RFP C25-05 for CMR services for Georgetown K-8 renovation to J.E. Dunn Construction Company Incorporated in the amount of $29,887,983. Certain changes are proposed to the project scope that will result in a change to the GMP. These are summarized on your agenda item. We have kitchen upgrades, exterior improvements, interior upgrades, renovations, and additions to the CTAE program. The total added to the GMP for these changes include CMR general conditions and fees is $3,899,754. The total revised contract will be $33,787,737. The new GMP contract amount is fully funded and no budget transfers is needed. Staff has reviewed the GMP change order and recommends board approval, and the superintendent supports this recommendation. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve GMP change order number 1 in the amount of $3,899,754, an increase in the GMP to the amount of $33,787,737 for RFP C25-05, CMR services for Georgetown K-8 renovations, and 2, J.E. Dunn Construction Company.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Can I just get somebody on record to tell me that we're still on schedule?
We are working with the contractor to make sure that they stay on schedule. It is very early in that project, so if we anticipate a delay in any of our current projects, we will review that by March, April timeframe and bring back an update.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All right, all in favor? Wonderful. Thank you.
Item number 9.11, RFP 21-20, office supplies, catalog discount annual contract extension request. On October 7th, 2020, the board approved the initial contract to Palpatui Ltd. doing business as Computer Supplies of San Diego, School Specialties of Greenville, Staples, Contract and Commercial LLC, VIP Office Supplies, Hinesville, to provide office supplies to various sites and departments throughout the district. The initial contract was for 2 years with the option to renew for an additional 3 one-year terms. The board approved the final contract renewal on November 4th, 2024 for the final 1-year term. Staff now requests a contract extension for an additional 6 months to allow for the evaluation and award of the new solicitation project under RFP 26-15, Office Supplies Catalog Discount Annual Contract. Excuse me. All terms and conditions will remain the same during the 6 months with an estimated cost of $600,000. The funding source on this will be various funds throughout the district. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the request to extend RFP 21-20 Office Supply Catalog Annual Contract to the vendors that were outlined at an estimated cost of $600,000 for a 6-month period with all terms and conditions remaining the same.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Councilman Brown?
Thank you. I asked that this be pulled because I just wanted to know why the RFP didn't go out before now that we need a contract extension.
It's a timing issue. We've had in purchasing several other contracts, and this one just did not get fulfilled in a timely manner.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? All in favor? Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes. All right. We have 3 people to speak before the board today, and welcome. And you will have 3 minutes. And the first person will be Ms. Smith. Shaniqua Smith? Not here. Okay. Next, we have Lorraine Bowers.
Good afternoon. How's everyone doing today?
Well, how about yourself?
Awesome, awesome. I am Lorraine Bowers, and I am the president of CAE. We have our spelling bee coming up on January the 27th at Savannah State University. So I invite all officials to come, show your face so kids can see you. We love you, and we think you're awesome. And that is all I have to say. Please come out and support the spelling bee, Savannah State, 6 o'clock.
All right. Next, Angelisa Bryant.
I'm doing it right now.
Good afternoon as well. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I come today for our students because I care deeply as a parent and because I believe you care too about this district and about ensuring policies and procedures are followed with integrity. I want to share an example of leadership and explain why I began advocating more. Doing a safety concern involving an orange cone, holding open a doorway at a school, a leader responded, acknowledging the concern and acting immediately, closing the door to ensure safety of all children. That moment demonstrated to me leadership through presence, communication, and guess what? Accountability. That response showed me what works. When concerns are acknowledged early and addressed properly, trust is built and everyone remains focused on student safety and solutions. As a little girl, I learned how to read because of a kind adult who welcomed my mother into her home, but through the front door. And she used to read to me. The message she gave to me was simple. And guess what it was? Reading is everything, and it leads to everything. That lesson stayed with me. It's why I read policies carefully, why I reread them, and why clarity and truth matter so much to me today. I would like to publicly thank one of your leaders, Mrs. Aretha Bush, for being that guiding light that day, for safety, and for all our children. I followed the proper chain of command. She responded. Oh, she responds, acknowledge immediately to my emails. I would also like to thank all board members for bringing and being a guiding light for all our students and our children, because accountability is what we all are here for. Family engagement is what we all are here for. So if we work together as a team, I think our children, and my daughter is back here today, she sees all the leaders. So I want all of us to lead. I want all us to be engaged. I want all us to respect each other. And I want all of us to love our children and to keep them safe. Thank you for your time, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
I will now accept the motion to adjourn. All in favor? Okay, yes. Thank you very much. Happy New Year, everyone. See? Oh, I'm sorry.